takes it a few minutes to load up to Facebook.
And I'll unmute when I need to speak.
Okay. Good. It's still connecting to Facebook, and then I have to enter in like the title and stuff before we go live. But I'll give you a heads up. Let's see. All right, that should be good. Hitting go live. All right, guys, welcome to today's Wednesday lunchtime live chat. I'm here with Dr. Nair, who is a virtual doctor coming out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks, Linda.
No, we're glad to have you here. Excited for you to join. I know you have some exciting things down the pike, which is why I reached out to you. But first, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Smitha Nair, and I am primarily based in Gettysburg, but I have switched to a completely virtual practice. I am a board certified family physician originally, but transitioned to more of an integrative medicine after completing a fellowship through Dr. Andrew Weil's program in 2016. I joined that and graduated in 2018. And I also have done some functional medicine courses through the Institute of Functional Medicine.
Yes.
I am an autoimmune paleo certified coach as well. I just graduated that last year. It was just a course I decided to take. And I'm also training to be a life coach. So
nice. You got lots of things in the works.
Yes. So I'm kind of transitioning from just playing the role of a doctor, MD, the traditional doctor, to more of a coaching,
consulting.
Consulting role. Because what I've seen is, I think that coaching actually helps people achieve their goals much better than being just told, hey, you need to change this and do that. So that is where the transitioning is happening. But other than that, I see women primarily focused on women 18 to 64.
Nice.
And autoimmune conditions. As you know, there's like 200 plus autoimmune conditions. So
absolutely.
And that's my focus right now.
Understood. Awesome. So real quick, when you say integrative medicine, what do you mean by that?
So integrative medicine is using not just medications to fix a symptom and looking at the root cause of it. Okay. Also using like a mind, body, spirit approach. So from what I have seen from my experience, many people root causes can be even emotional past trauma.
Absolutely.
Right? So how to address that to heal the person as a whole is what I look at, and how that's a little different from what I used to do 4 years ago.
Absolutely. And that's so very important. All right. So we've been talking a little bit about food as medicine. How do you feel about that statement? Food is medicine.
I feel very strongly about that. Now, if you had asked me the same question like in 2016 and before that, I would have said, yeah, you have to eat right, eat your fruits and vegetables, and that would be the extent of my knowledge on this subject. Even though in med school, they don't really focus a whole lot on nutrition. Now, since I took the fellowship and I've done all these additional courses in learning, I have found out with that knowledge and also applying it to patients, how truly food works as medicine. And now looking back, growing up, I see how my mom actually applied a lot of that. She's not a doctor, and how I actually grew up with eating great food and stayed healthy for the most part. And then I started eating junk and
Yeah.
how it affected my health. So I strongly believe in that statement. Food is medicine.
Awesome. All right. So today I invited you here to talk specifically about spices. So do you have a favorite spice? What can you tell us about that?
I love spices. So based on my culture, you should know that, I grew up around spices. And like I mentioned, my mom, she is the person I look up to all the time for food related things because she got married actually at the age of 17 and
Okay.
started cooking since then. And my grandfather, her dad, like he owned a restaurant. So we were always around food. And how we use spices in all the dishes. There was turmeric, there was ginger, cumin, mustard seeds, curry leaves. I mean, there's so many different spices that we use in
Absolutely.
cooking. And most people, I think, relate spices as just the aroma related to it, not necessarily the medicinal benefits.
Yeah.
But there are a few things, like if I told my mom, like, okay, I feel a stomach upset or indigestion, she would immediately go take some cumin seeds and some coriander seeds and fennel seeds and just boil the water with those seeds and strain it and give it to me to drink. And
Okay.
I did not like that growing up, but then it would help me immediately.
Yeah.
So that's an example. Turmeric, we love turmeric because we use it not just in our cooking, it also has some traditional applications, like when we first, for example, as women, when we first attain menarche, we have a whole celebration for that. It's weird, but they put turmeric paste on our face and
Okay.
just to beautify us, and we use it even as a skin um, on our skin because
Yeah.
it actually has some antiseptic properties and all of that.
Antibacterial. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in weddings, we use turmeric a lot as well. So there's a lot of things we do with turmeric that's not just related to food. And I
Absolutely.
still remember, like, when we get cuts, my mom would just make a paste out of the turmeric powder and just apply it on the cut and then put a band-aid or wrap it. So it would help with that healing the wound.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever actually put turmeric on my skin for Freya or of turning myself yellow because it has that strong yellow color.
Yes. So that's a very good point because I think turmeric is one of the spices, like not so much even chili powder, but turmeric powder can stain your surfaces, your countertops very easily. So when you use it, you have to make sure that you have to be really careful not to drop it.
Right.
And especially when you use like turmeric root, it can stain your fingers for a few days even. So
Okay.
wearing gloves when you're working with turmeric is probably not a bad idea for people who are not used to that and who mind that coloration. Yeah.
Yeah. So would it be safe to say that turmeric is probably your favorite spice, or do you have others?
I actually love fennel seeds and cumin seeds because
Okay.
I just put them in my mouth after eating sometimes. It's like a little breath of like a air mouth freshener.
Yes.
And I also like the taste of it. I don't know why. It's
Yeah.
kind of soothing for me.
Fennel has a very unique flavor. I know that.
Yeah.
I use cumin a lot in my cooking. Fennel, not so much. I have it in the drawer. I think I've used fennel for making breakfast sausage. I think that's what I had bought fennel for.
Yeah.
But I don't think I use it a whole lot. I definitely need to expand my horizons when it comes to spices. Now, what separates as you're talking, I'm thinking about spices and some of the things you mentioned, I automatically think of like peppermint, or I think of herbs that I would use. Is there a big difference between herbs and spices?
Not really. Like, I mean, when you think of ginger or let's pick something else, like curry leaves, right?
Okay.
Curry leaves is considered a spice as well as it's an herb, it's a leaf. So the dried form, we powder it, we add it to things just to flavor. So when you think of herbs and spices kind of go
Right.
together in the sense that it flavors things.
Yep.
Both have medicinal properties. So there are some common things, and they all come from plants, most of
Correct.
them, right? So
Yes.
I see both as similar.
Yes. So I was just curious if it was like, are spices just like spicy herbs, or because I know like we talked about things like, ginger and let's see, ginger. I don't know where garlic would fall into that, but like ginger and turmeric are both roots. Horseradish, that's a root. And I'm thinking of, I automatically think of like the fire cider. Have you ever made fire cider?
Fire cider. What is that?
So fire cider, it's like a concoction. I don't know better. I use like a
With
huge
cinnamon?
mason jar. Oh, what's that?
Do you use cinnamon in that?
I don't think I have cinnamon in it. No, it's all the hot stuff. It's like onion, horseradish, garlic, like all that hot stuff in there. It's been a while because I make it in a huge batch and it lasts us a while. And that's what I think of when I think of spices.
I have heard of that.
So real quick, so we did a lot of talking about turmeric, and there's a good reason for that. You have a class coming up on cooking turmeric, I understand.
Yes, and that's on April 25th. It's a Sunday, and it's from 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.
And that's virtual, so people
It's
can do it from the comfort of their homes.
Virtual, and I would send the recipes and the shopping list like a few days before the actual event.
Okay.
So, and then give them resources as to where they can go buy this stuff. And it would be done like interactive. So just so you know, things about me, my mom does most of the cooking in my house. I'm not a professional chef by any means, but I just love to show what I know. And
Right.
Teaching even small things maybe, and talking about the health benefits of these spices is what upcoming classes would be.
And I think that's very important. I know a lot of what we share in the group a lot of us are moms, and doing what we can do for our families. And I think it's important. You make a good point when you say you're not a chef. Well, most of us here aren't. I don't know if I know I'm not. So we don't have to be a chef to create delicious and nutritious meals. So I'm going to hop over and see if we have any comments or questions. So we've got Michelle Tasker said emotional trauma is huge. And you talked about earlier as a root cause. And then see, I'm trying to get used to turmeric in kombucha. That's how I've gotten to like ginger. It's a journey. Yes. Good point. Everything is a journey. And we point that out often that, in this group, when I set it up, it's a non-judgmental phase because we're all at different spots, and that's okay. And we're all here to learn and grow together because I'm not an expert on anything either. So let's see. So yeah, she made a good point of kombucha. So do you drink fermented drinks?
Yes. So I actually we make lassi, which is with yogurt, and we add some.
Is that similar to like kefir or
buttermilk? Yes. So kefir, buttermilk, and then we add like cumin seeds, curry leaves, and all that ginger to it and drink that. And as you know, yogurt is fermented as well. Correct. So that's one thing I love drinking. And, we make pickles out of mango and add all these different spices as well and ferment it. So not like the pickles we eat here. So it's a little different. But
I'm like pickles and mango, like my brain just went.
So yeah, there's like we add oil, sesame oil, and then we splatter some spices in it, and we fermented that pickle, and then we use that with our meals. So that's another fermented food we eat. There's lots of fermented foods we do eat, like steamed rice cake. So the batter itself, we let it ferment overnight. So yeah, so I do love kombucha, but sometimes when I drink that, I think people with sometimes small intestine bacterial overgrowth, when they drink too much of probiotics or fermented drinks, makes them feel a little bit more uncomfortable.
So that you said small, that's like SIBO, small bacterial.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I know some people love bubbles in the drinks and some people do not like bubbles in the drinks. Yeah. I'm a fan of bubbles. In fact, next week I have a mom coming on to share about the fermented drinks that she makes, where kombucha and the kefirs and stuff. Yeah. But tell me again the name of the drink. The first drink you said it began with an L.
So lassi is with buttermilk. Basically, it's buttermilk, and we just add the spices, but it's called lassi. Yeah.
Okay.
LASSI.
Okay. That's a new one for me.
You said you have a lot of moms. Now, I'm not sure if any of these moms are nursing moms, like fenugreek seeds.
Yes.
They actually help with milk production.
Yes, I've learned that. And unfortunately, I learned it a little late after I was past that phase. And we went through that struggle because my son was, he was when I first started nursing him, he would aspirate. His breathing rate was so high. Later on, we learned out why that was, but in the beginning, we didn't know, and I could not nurse him. And he ended up being on an IV. And once we got him off and home, I wasn't able to keep up, in order to nurse him. But then like, I never knew. I was a young mom, and I never knew to look outside. And so there's so many things that like, I would love for people to know now and when they need them. All right, we have one other comment. Fermented carrots are delicious, but I think I messed up with cauliflower. It was terrible. Yeah, fermented veggies are tricky. I've had luck. I mean, I've made the same exact recipe and had it turn out fabulous. Make the same exact recipe and it went to the chickens. Like, I've had some troubles with that myself. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. I invite you to share about the class that's coming up in our group so everybody can check that out and sign up if it's for them. And like I said, next week we'll be talking about fermented drinks. And that's all I've got for today. Any last words, Dr. Nair?
No, I'm glad. Thank you for inviting me to just at least touch base on spices. And I'm looking forward to hopefully hear more from your group and, what some of those classes as well.
Yeah. And I'd love to have you come back. You touched on a lot of topics that I know piqued interest in my mind. So I'd love to hear more about you on some other topics, such as the paleo and the autoimmune. So you're welcome back anytime. But thank you for coming today. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. And we will see you next week. All right. I've stopped the live stream, so that's not being